Today we're going to do part 2 of what you should be doing now to prepare for buying your first home, dream home, second home, vacation home, whatever home.
Right.
We talked a little bit last week about some of the things that you should be doing. So we're going to today follow up with kind of the money parts of what you should be doing.
The financial aspect.
Yes. And the first one is, what is my budget? And you're not allowed to guess. That's not allowed. You must know.
This is my everyday life. I need to know, what is my budget? But
how much can I spend?
How much can I spend?
I've asked buyers this before, and they're like, I don't know. We probably want to be somewhere around 400. And I'm like, where did we arrive at that number from?
Right.
Are we using like an online mortgage calculator and you like that payment?
Right.
Or do you actually know that you're qualified? Because like I might be comfortable with spending a certain amount, but the lenders will look at my debt ratios and be like, no, ma'am. No.
Or they'll tell you can spend far more than you're comfortable spending.
That also happens often.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
So both should come into play. And this is why it's so important to talk to a lender. And that doesn't mean that you have to pull your credit right away. You can just say, listen, this is how much income I have. This is what I'm comfortable spending each month. Is that reasonable for the area with the taxes and maybe the insurance
and
are definitely going to weigh in.
HOA fees, don't forget.
Right. They will calculate all of that into like your debt ratios. Maybe you have a car. They may even be able to strategize with you on how to get your ratios where they need to be so you can buy a home in your desired budget, right? So that's super important to chat with them about that. Your point in here about what you're comfortable paying and like being qualified for more money. I'll never forget my very first home way back in 1999. We talked to a lender and they were like, oh, you can qualify for this much house. And I can't remember what the dollar amount was, but it was double what we actually paid for our first house.
Yeah.
And I was like, we could qualify for that much money? We didn't have a lot of debt.
Right.
So that's probably why. It was probably going to take, we were going to be house poor and not have anything else.
It was before having children and all the things we talked about, children's car payments and insurance and school and clothes.
And I was just like, there's no way. It would have been a really nice home. And we were like, I don't think we want to pay that much. So we got something that was half that. And, the mortgage was decent. But, yeah, you have to be really careful getting too caught up in like, wow, it's like a credit card. I feel like when you first are old enough to get a credit card and they're like, we've given you a $5,000 limit. To an 18-year-old, that's you're rich.
Yes.
All day long.
I say more than anything that I feel like people get qualified for way more than they're comfortable with. Know your number. What do you want to spend monthly on housing expense?
Yeah, definitely.
You have to know that number. So, yeah. Am I eligible for any special lending programs? And so there are first-time homebuyer programs that are great, especially for first-time homebuyers. There might be programs for if you are a first responder.
Yeah, there's hometown heroes kind of thing.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, first responder teachers. Yeah. There's doctor programs if you're a physician.
There's for VA, the veterans, of course, they have wonderful programs. And I know some people are like, well, I don't want to use my VA benefit.
Why? It's an amazing benefit.
It's an amazing benefit. And you don't have to put 0% down. You can put
money down.
You can handle it like a regular loan, but usually the rates are good. There's good things about a VA loan.
Yes.
So you definitely need to look at all the loan programs that you qualify for. If your lender is not familiar with that, check with another lender.
Yeah, absolutely. Because some lenders don't have all the programs. So you might need to talk to 2 or 3, you know, but ask your realtor who they recommend. And if you want to do some search on your own, you should do that too.
Yeah. Absolutely.
The other one is, what is my credit score? Credit Karma does not count, okay? Like, I see so many lenders posting about this. Like, people will think that their score is one thing because they've been watching it on Credit Karma, and it might be close.
I don't even know what is Credit Karma. Credit Karma is not a real. Yeah, it's not like
an
a
app,
real.
but you could get a free copy of your credit report once a year from each of the credit bureaus, or if you have an adverse action from any credit company, that entitles you as well. You should know what's on your credit report because sometimes there's errors, and if there's an error, you need to report it and dispute it. But work on your credit score. And this is also where working with certain lenders, there's some lenders that have like an educator's heart who will work with you and tell you, listen, if you pay this thing off first, that's going to jump your score like probably this many points on average. that would be the biggest impact for your buck. Because, I mean, who wants to like spend 4 times as much trying to get their score where it needs to be versus, you know, if you could have spent 25% of that to have the same benefit, you know.
So true. And some lenders will advise you, well, we could pay this off now, like, which might be hard, or we can pay it off when you get the home.
Right.
And you might be selling an existing home, so you can use the proceeds from that to pay off the other thing. And so you definitely want to.
It's a strategy.
It is.
You do have to strategize. And I think if you work with a lender who'll help you strategize that. I know I had one set of home buyers where they did have a lot of debt. They wanted to sell their existing home and they wanted to buy a new home. And in order to qualify, like certain things had to be paid off. So they did that when they sold their home.
Yeah.
And then they turned around and bought the brand new house like the next day, same day. I can't remember. It was pretty simultaneous.
Yeah.
And then when they left, there was like money had been sent to their account. They still had money left over.
Yeah.
And she's like, so who do we need to pay with that? I said, you do what you want. You want to go out to dinner? You want to buy some curtains for your new place? Like, go crazy, you know? And they couldn't believe that after paying all that debt off and buying a brand new home that they had like all this money left over.
Right.
You know what I mean? So strategizing is always important.
Financial strategy is super important. Save more, spend less, especially good for first-time home buyers.
Yeah.
Save as much money as you can. You want to try and get, I mean, it doesn't make as much difference probably as it used to, but you want to try and get to that 20% down. And there's closing costs. People are always, what? What do you mean? I have the 20% down. What do you mean I have to pay for a year's worth of home insurance up front?
Yeah.
Fund my escrow account. I have closing costs. There's title insurance that has to be paid. Make sure you're saving money. Stop spending money indiscriminately. If you really want to buy a house and you really want to be a homeowner, put money aside.
You can do a loan program where you pay less down. You can do the FHA at 3.5%. You can do a conventional, 3 or 5%.
Yeah.
But again, remember that payment still has to be within your debt ratio. So always, if you want to avoid the PMI, that 20% number
is... And the PMI on an FHA loan no longer goes away. So if you have an FHA loan and you get to the 20%, you used to be able to then go in and say, okay, I'm at 20%, reappraise my house, get rid of that PMI. No more.
You got to refinance.
And if rates have gone up,
don't refinance.
Yeah.
Pay the PMI.
Pay
the PMI, yeah.
Yes, exactly.
For sure. And then you need to figure out where is your down payment coming from and how much down payment money do you have. I have a story about this. When I was 19 and bought my first house, the lenders weren't asking a lot of questions in 1999, I will say.
It used to be a lot easier.
And I do remember, the whole closing cost thing. Like, I was like, well, we have to have we were doing FHA, 3.5% down. We can come up with that. It was a low price, like a $139,000 house, right? Yeah. I'm like, it was a new build. I think maybe there was some builder credits. I can't remember exactly. But then I was like, oh, wait, there's more.
But wait. There's more.
And it was like, where are we going to get that money from? Our parents. So we ended up with gift funds. Unintentionally, like, they didn't know. I remember, like, they didn't know we were even looking to buy a house. But they were nice. So, yes, again, this is where you want to have, like, you at least want to have your down payment and then ask what the closing cost percentage average is in your area.
Yes.
And what is it here? Like, anywhere from 1 to 3%, it depends.
Well, on a buy side, it's different. On the sell side, it's like 1.5. But on the buy side, it can vary significantly depending on what type of loan you're getting.
If you're buying down rates, it's going to be a lot more, which could help you. I mean, you might need to do that or there's all kinds of things involved. So you also want to make sure that the money for your down payment is somewhere that's traceable. To your name specifically, unless you're getting like gift funds, but those gift funds also have to come.
So sometimes parents will get upset because they're like, oh, my mom or dad is going to give me money towards the down payment. Well, mom and dad then have to supply their bank account or their brokerage account information. And sometimes mom and dad aren't too happy about that.
They can't just deposit it into your account.
Yeah.
It doesn't work that way. And they also can't have it like in the safe in their house and just come with cash or mattress money.
Yes. It definitely has to be traceable, and your money has to be traceable, and it has to be there for a certain amount of time. So you can't just put it in and the same month you close. You have to have it after 2 months on bank statements. I think you're pretty clear.
Yeah.
So if you want to get it in there, Put it in 3 to 4 months early.
Yeah.
Ask your lender, how long does it need to be in my bank account? How many bank statements does it need to appear on in order for me to be able to say it's verified funds?
Now you're giving me a panic attack about one of my current deals.
Oh, no.
There's money that's going to be gift funds that was, part of an estate. And maybe the party who is gifting it is not great with money, so it's been kind of intentionally withheld from his account.
Oh, yeah.
To prevent it from just going poof.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I'm going to be making a phone call when we leave here.
Me making a phone call. It's 2 months, I'm pretty sure.
We learn something new every day, and today is the day that Kelly learned that might not be the best case scenario for this situation. So
it'll all work out, though, because you know why? It always does.
It always does. This is true. Yes. Yeah. I think that's it for these. These are our top 10. There's probably a lot more you should be doing.
Yes.
But this is a good starting point. I feel like the money and then figuring out what you need in your home is our other episode.
Yes. So watch the other episode if you didn't watch that one first.
Yes. We'll link it.
Right? Yeah.
Cheers.